Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afif bin Abdurrahman, and I am the group leader for Dingo Gang Group. So today I will present the group project for Control Center and my bot documents. So first, let me list all the function for in Control Center. The first function is status, that is the author is myself, me myself. The second one is connection. The author is Nur Aim binti Zamridin. The next one is diagnosis. The author is Muhammad Fauzan Shahmi bin Syari. The next one is configuration. Eng Suyan is the author. The next one is notification. The author is Ilman Nasran bin Nasruddin. And the last function is detection. The author is Nurul Akma Aimi binti Sulaiman. So moving to the next point, the list of function in my bot. So the first one is special action. The author is me myself. So the second one is automatic charging. The author is Nurul Ain binti Zamridin. The next one is error detection. The author is Eng Sui Yen. The next function is movement. The author is Muhammad Fauzan Shahmi bin Syari. The next one is sensing and object tracking. The author is Nurul Akmai binti Sulaiman. And the last function in my bot is emergency notification. The author is Ilman Nasran bin Nasruddin. So moving to the next point, that is test traceability metrics in this document. So all the functions in the document has high risk level, except for the function number 4, that is moderate. So moving to the next point, features to be tested. So in this document, all of the function has high risk of level, except for the configuration, that is function number 4. So moving to the next point, features not to be tested. So the first one is operation procedure. This document only for system level test. So operation procedure is not covered in this document. So the next one is network security. This document is only designed for functional test. So security is not covered in this document. So the last one is not enough team member. So the SRS has a lot of functions, so there is not enough team member to cover all the functions, since we have only 6 member. So the next one, moving to the next point, that is approach in this document. So we use 5 types of technique in this document. The first one is equivalent partitioning. The second one is boundary value analysis, decision table testing, state transition testing, and the last one is use case testing. So moving to the next point, that is item pass and fail criteria. The first one is all test cases must be passes. So the next one is 0% calculation error in any function involving monetary transaction. So the last one is no deadlock during the operation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afif bin Abdurrahman, metric number CB19007 from section 02B. So I have selected function status in control center and special action function in my bot. So let's move on to the list of requirement in function number 1. The first one is my bot status. Second one is location notification. The third one is system diagnosis, and the fourth one is connection. So let's move on to the list of requirement in function number 7. The first one is fault recovery. The next one is moving object. The third one is battery power and health alert. The fourth one is enable to return to the charging station, and the last one is signal loss. So test design technique that I use in first function is equivalence partitioning, decision table, and state transition, and use case testing. The reason why I choose state transition table as state transition testing in function number 1, because there is a flow of how the control center works. So test design technique that I use in function number 7 is equivalent partitioning, decision table, and use case testing. Why I didn't choose a state transition testing in here? Because there is no flow. There is only fact in the special action function. So let's move on to the example of design data for the first function. This is the equivalent partitioning diagram, and this is the table. So this is the decision table testing for the first function, and this is the coverage. So this is the state transition diagram for the first function, that is status, and this is the table for the state transition. So this is use case table for the first function. Okay, moving to the next point, that is example of design data for the function number 7, that is special action. This is equivalent partitioning and boundary value diagram, and this is the table. So this is the decision table for the function number 7, and this is the coverage table. So this is use case table for the function number 7, and this is the use case table. So let's move on to the example of test case for function number 1. This is the test cases. So there is a total of 15 test cases that came out of function number 1. So let's move on to the example of test cases in function number 7. So this is the test cases. So there is total of 14 test cases for the function number 7. So let's move on to the example of test procedure for function number 1. This is the first test procedure. So there is total of 4 test procedure in function number 1. Let's move on to the test procedure in function number 7. This is the first test procedure. So there is total of 9 test procedure in function number 7. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Ain binti Zamridin, CB18118. So the function that I test for the control center is connection, and for the MyBoard is automatic charging. So I'm going to start with the list of requirements. So for the connection, there are 2 requirements, which are connect and also lock. For the automatic charging, there are 6 requirements, which are low power, locating charging station, recharge process, light fully recharged, light low power, and also unable to return. So for the test design techniques, I use 5 tests, which are equivalence partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table testing, state transition testing, and also use case testing. So the example of test design data for connection is I include the test condition 3 to test condition 10 for the test table test condition, and also the connection decision table, which includes test coverage 3 to test coverage 7. The next one is the connection state transition diagram, which includes 5 states: view connection, choosing serial ID, choosing connected to, pressing connect, and also view lock connection. And also for the connection state table, which I have 5 input and also 7 states. The next one is connection state dark coverage, which includes 8 to 14 coverage. For the automatic charging, I use equivalent partitioning and bandwidth value analysis testing, which includes the input value of low power locate charging station, recharge, fully charged, and it also interrupted movement. For the use case test condition and coverage, it includes test condition 15 to 21 and also coverage 8 to 14. So the test data, it includes the test data which to test the function. And also the next one is automatic charging use case, which has 7 steps altogether, and use case test condition and coverage, which cover 15 to test condition 21 for automatic charging, and test coverage 8 to test coverage 14. So the next one is example of test cases. From the connection, I just have 4 of it, which are to enter serial ID, to enter connected to the charging station, to connect my board with charging station, and also to show the log status. So for the automatic charging, I have several of them, which are 10 altogether, but I just put 5 of the test cases. The next one is example of test procedures. For the connection, I have 5 set up. The next one is for the automatic charging. I have several of them, but I include 3 of the test procedures, and the automatic charging test procedures my board must be in start position first in order to test the procedure. That is all from me. Thank you.
Good morning, sir, and my fellow friend. My name is Ng Sweet Yan with my number CB18146. Now I'm going to do the presentation about our group project. My selected CC is configurations, and my selected my board is error detection. And now I'm going to talk about the list of requirements. You can see the configuration include 2 requirements, which is the register device and also the log. And for the error detection include the failure to stop exceeding allowable weightage and overcharging, and also the not enough power. The test design technical use include the equivalent partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table testing, and also the state transition, and also the use case testing. Now I'm going to talk about the example for test design data. I'm going to talk 2 example for configuration and 2 example for error detection. For configuration, this is the decision table testing. You can see this is the test condition, and also this is the decision table. The next example for configuration is the state transition testing. You can see this is the flow chart of the configurations, and you can see this is the table for state and also the state coverage. The next I'm going to talk about the error detection. You can see this is the method used, which is the equivalent partitioning and boundary value analysis, and you can see this is the table for equivalent partitioning test condition and coverage. And next one, I'm going to talk the next method for error detection, which is the use case method. You can see it include the actors, preconditioning, main flow, and 4 alternative flows inside, and also you can see, and then you can see this is the flow, the use case, test condition, and coverage. And next, I'm going to take the example of test case. This is the example test case for configuration. You can see it includes the objective of to register a device, to remove a device, to edit a device, and also to view the register log. And for error detection test case, it includes many, but I will only take 3 of them, which is the objective for meter of obstacle less than 0.5 meters, and also when exceeds allowable weightage. And next one is the one of the alternative flow when failure to stop, which is unable to send a signal to stop all the mainboard operation. Next I'm going to talk an example of test procedure. You can see this is the configuration test procedures to register, remove, edit device, and view the registration log. And you can see for error detection test procedure, I state that the precondition must be the mainboard is already in the start method, and also the mainboard must be in IDLE mode. You can see the test procedure for mainboard to take necessary action when error is occurs. And also you can see this is one of the alternative flow when failure to stop, and this is the alternative flow when exceeding allowable weightage. This is all my presentation. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fazil Syahmi bin Syahari. My metric number is CB17094. I'm from section 2, and today I'm going to present my project, which is control center and my board system. For the list of requirement, I choose diagnosis, which is F003. This is the list of function for diagnosis. This is the test plan for the diagnosis control center, and this is for the test design for diagnosis, which I use equivalence partitioning, boundary partitioning. This is all of this. I use decision table, state transition, and I use case testing. For the test case, this is the test case for diagnosis for control center, and for the test procedure, this is the table for the test procedure for diagnosis, which is they have two tables, and this is the test log for the diagnosis log. For the list of function for my board, I choose movement and avoidance. This is list of function for my board, and this is the test plan for my board for movement and avoidance. This is test design specification for my board movement and avoidance. As you can see, I use the same one, which is equivalent partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table, state transition testing, and use case testing. This is test case specification for movement and avoidance, which have 8 tables. This is the test procedure for movement and avoidance. And this is the movement and avoidance test log. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Liman Nashan bin Muhammad student, and my metric number is CB19014. I'm from section 2B, and for my presentation I will present about two function from control center and my board, which is notification function and emergency notification function. For notification function, the purpose is to receive my board notification log, and secondly, the emergency notification is to allow the emergency notification when some error happen in the system. So the list requirement for the two function is, first, the function for control center is F005. It has a retrieve function, show ID, notification type, data range, and display or output. Secondly is the emergency notification, which is F012. It has two attributes. Firstly is input detection, and secondly retrieve information. So for the test design technique, I use 3 techniques. Firstly is decision table, state transition testing, and use case. For the design data is cover from 1 to 8, which is valid serial ID, valid notification type, valid date range, invalid serial ID, notification type, invalid date range, retrieve logging, and display log. So for the state transition, this is the diagram, which is cover from choosing serial ID, choosing notification, choosing date range, and retrieve log. And this is the state table, and the bottom is the test coverage ID that cover from 1 to 10. Secondly is a use case for the notification. It had 3 alternative flow, which is invalid notification, invalid range, and invalid serial ID. And this is the test condition uh, for the use case. And this is the test notification. For the notification, I have 10 test case, and this is the some example. And this is the test procedure for the notification that cover the all three alternative flow and and some other attributes. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Akma Aimi binti Sulaiman, CB18098. For control center, my function is detection, which is have some requirement such as sensor status, my board detection setting, my board alarm and light on off switch, and view my board live feed, which is photo and also video on my board. For the my board function, my part is sensing and object detection specification, which have requirements such as real world presentation and obstacle detection, path detection, object detection, alternate movement, and fire and flood detection. I have used equivalent partitioning and boundary value analysis for the my board function to as a test technique, and I have used decision table and state transition table, and also use case testing for the control center. I also do the test case specification to detail the test case derived from the test coverage in the test design specification. And for this part, I have detailed the test case design separated according to the test case ID from the start to the last, and I also detail the related feature ID, the objective, and the test coverage item, and also I have put the detail about the input and expected result. For test case procedure, for control center, I have tell the detail about main flow and also alternate flow. For the sensing and object detection specification, I have tell the detail about output and input flow. That's all from me. Thank you.
So let's move to the last part, that is part C, test summary. So in this report, for the function number 1 until the last function, that is function number 12, there is total of 138 test cases, and the number of test cases remaining to be executed also the same amount. So this is the testing schedule. We started the document, the report, on 4 December and ends on 12 January 2021. So for the test case coverage, the total test cases is 138, while the test cases passed is also the same amount, that is 138. So let me summarize all from the report. For the functions in control center, we choose status, connection, diagnosis, configuration, notification, and detection. While in MyBot, we choose function special action, automatic charging, error detection, movement and avoidance, sensing and object tracking, and the last one is emergencies notification. I think that's all from our group. So thank you.